Alex, talk to me about what's going on in oil prices, because the decline really started before we got these IMF headlines.
Yeah. I have no idea is the really simple answer for you. My assumption was...
At least it's honest.
When I was going to the terminal was, okay, well, we have Lagarde making these statements. My assumption is the dollar is down. My assumption one, oil is up. That is exactly not what we're seeing here. And you have Barclays saying U.S. decline is actually really closely correlated to oil right now. So the two is very influential in terms of where the price moves. So to me, looking back at headlines, my assumption is perhaps this has to do more with OPEC. Perhaps there's more rumblings. Maybe Ryan can comment on this. Out of Vienna, that perhaps OPEC will not be cutting target rate. Maybe they'll even raise their output, perhaps, their output target.
There's been some chatter about that, yes.
And the assumption being if that happens, it's sort of a commitment to, guys, we're going to keep overproducing. We're going to keep fighting for our market share. Bye-bye high-cost producers. We're going to keep flooding the market, hence the oversupply.
All right, well, let's bring in Ryan Chilcote. He's in Vienna. Ryan, are you hearing, I've heard that already. I've heard it out of OPEC. Our colleague Javier Blas was on with us yesterday talking about the possibility that perhaps OPEC will raise its quota and certainly not cut its quota. What are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're more likely to raise the quota than to cut the quota. I mean, I've been here now for 2 days, and I haven't heard anyone say that they think that the quota should be cut, other than the Iranians. But the Iranians are kind of out of the game anyway, right? The Iranians always call for cuts because they want a higher oil price, because they need a higher oil price. But at the end of the day, you know, they're going to increase, you know, if the sanctions are removed, they're going to increase their production in any case. So they can't call on other countries to cut production right now, even if they think that the price is too high. So, you know, raising the production ceiling is more likely than lowering the production ceiling. But, you know, what's most likely is these OPEC guys, when they meet tomorrow, they're going to do absolutely nothing because they're kind of happy with the situation. Sure, the price of oil is falling right now. We're at $58 for WTI. But at the end of the day, if you look at, you know, these guys meet twice a year, and the direction of the oil price over those 6 months has been upwards. And mostly, you know, it's kind of stabilized. So they think, and you know, particularly the Saudis think, that their strategy is working. And, you know, what Saudi Arabia wants at OPEC is what Saudi Arabia gets.
And let's not forget here that Iraq is also putting more oil into the market as well. Shipping tankers estimate about 800,000 barrels a day. Iraq did want to export 4 million barrels a day last year. They didn't get to that, but they are nearing a record high of almost that level, about 3.75 million. They're not cutting back either. That's just adding oil to the market. And CIBC says that Iraq is actually Saudi Arabia's biggest competitor.
Well, that raises an important question that we should pose to Ryan. Ryan, when we talk about OPEC quotas, we're really talking about Saudi Arabia only, aren't we? Because we know that other countries, Iran, Iraq, for example, Russia, even possibly the Venezuelans, will produce more than they're allowed to and do.
That's right. You know, I mean, the only thing you can say that's sort of new on that front, Eric, is that the Saudis' spare capacity is greatly diminished because they've been pumping so much oil recently. Last month, they pumped more oil than they pumped in any month on record. So they don't have that much more room to ratchet up their production. But look, you know, everybody wants to produce oil right now. The Saudis are doing this. And I think if you're going to watch anything, it's in the fine print next to the OPEC decision and what the cartel has to say about enforcing their production target. So the production target is 30 million barrels. Everybody thinks they're going to keep that, right? 33 out of 34 analysts. But what they could say is we should really stick to that. Now, if they say that means that maybe we'll see some oil come offline because actually they're producing 31 million barrels.
All right, Ryan, thanks very much. Ryan Chilcote there in Vienna. Alix Steele with us here on 7.